Well, good morning. Welcome to Daily Videos with me, Pastor Michelle. Today is Thursday morning, and let's get us started with some prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So, today's Thursday, August 20th, and I do hope everyone is doing okay in the midst of all these days. So, we've come to the beginning portion of this segment, and it's called Thoughts with Pastor Michelle, with Michelle. And my main thought today is I do a lot of worrying. Even before this pandemic, I worried a lot, and now I see that I've caused permanent wrinkles. Anyone else have they call them the worry wrinkles right here? It's like a permanent, I'm always like that. When I listen to people, that's my, it comes up when I smile too. But when I'm listening and doing pastoral care, one of my looks is like that. So I have a wrinkle. I don't know how to get rid of it. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it gives me character. I'm 37 and I'm already seeing my wrinkles. Oh, getting old is a blessing, but it's also hard. It's a hard reality. In my family, I joke a lot. I'm 37, and I always say I'm 37, and I'm in my early 30s, and my brother always likes to remind me that it's so not my early 30s, and I guess you would say mid 30s. I will not be in my late 30s till I'm like 39 and a half. But yes, I do realize that getting old is a blessing. Not everyone gets to get old, and I pray that I do. But it's hard. It's hard. The older I get, the harder. I don't know. I realize there's certain things that I used to be able to do when I was in my 20s. Late teens that I just can't do anymore. Like eat too much dairy. I had too much dairy last night and I paid for it the next day. I don't know. Anyway, anyone else have the worry wrinkles? And it's okay to worry. But I do think it's okay to worry. It's okay to be anxious about things because my God, we're in a pandemic. But also, sometimes you just gotta take a deep breath and think of the Beatles song, Let It Be, Que sera, sera. I think that's the saying, what will be, will be, which is very hard right now to even say that. So anyway, what will be, will be. Let's get into Hunger Games, shall we? All right, so we're at the interview between Katniss and Peeta, so let's hear what happens next. Caesar Flickerman makes a few more jokes, and then it's time for the show. This will last exactly 3 hours and is required viewing for all of Panem. As the lights dim and the seal appears on the screen, I realize I'm unprepared for this. I do not want to watch my 22 fellow tributes die. I saw enough of them die the first time. My heart starts pounding, and I have strong impulse to run. How have the other victors faced this alone? During the highlights, they periodically show the winner's reaction up on a box in the corner of the screen. I think back to earlier years. Some are triumphant, pumping their fists in the air, beating their chests, most of them just stunned. All I know is that the only thing keeping me on this love seat is Peeta. His arm around my shoulder, his other hand claimed by both of mine. Of course, the previous victors didn't have the Capitol looking for a way to destroy them. Condensing several weeks into 3 hours is quite a feat, especially when you consider how many cameras were going at once. Whoever puts together the highlights has to choose what sort of story to tell. This year, for the first time, they tell a love story. I know Peeta and I won, but a disproportionate amount of time is spent on us right from the beginning. I'm glad, though, because it supports the whole crazy in love thing. That's my defense for defying the Capitol. Plus, it means we won't have as much time to linger over the deaths. The first half hour or so focuses on the pre-arena events, the reaping, the chariot ride through the Capitol, our training scores, and our interviews. There's this sort of upbeat soundtrack playing under it that makes it twice as awful because, of course, almost everyone on screen is dead. Once we're in the arena, there's detailed coverage of the bloodbath. Then the filmmakers basically alternate between shots of tributes dying and shots of us. Mostly PETA, really. There's no question he's carrying this romance thing on his shoulders. Now I see what the audience saw, how he misled the careers about me, stayed awake the entire night under the Tracker Jacker tree, fought Cato to let me escape, and even while he lay in that mud bank, whispered my name in his sleep. I seem heartless in comparison, dodging fireballs, dropping nests, and blowing up supplies until I go hunting for Rue. They play her death in full, the spearing, my failed rescue attempt, my arrow through the boy from District 1's throat, Rue drawing her last breath in my arms, and the song. I get to sing every note of the song. Something inside me shuts down, and I'm too numb to feel anything. It's like watching complete strangers in another Hunger Games. But I do notice they omit the part where I covered her in flowers. Right, because even that smacks of rebellion. Things pick up for me once they've announced 2 tributes from the same district can live, and I shout out PETA's name and then clap my hands over my mouth. If I've seemed indifferent to him earlier, I make up for it now by finding him, nursing him back to health, going back to the feast for the medicine, and being very free with my kisses. Objectively, I can see the mutts and Cato's death are as gruesome as ever, but again, I feel it happens to people I've never met. Lemmy cakes! So, sorry, Lemmy's outside right now. Lemmy, what are you doing? And so I'm home for a while in between pet sitting gigs. So what will happen with Cato and PETA? PETA and Katniss. We'll find out later. So let's get into, whoa, there she is. Hey, kid. Okay. So let's get into some John Pavlovitz. We're almost done with the first installment of Hunger Games, by the way. So that's exciting. So our next portion from John Pavlovitz is titled, I Just Want to Leave This World. Some days, I just want to leave this world. Living here much longer simply feels like an emotional impossibility these days. The cruelty is too prevalent, the atrocities too pervasive, the fractures beyond repair. It is an exercise in diminishing returns each morning as I expend the necessary energy required to protect the fragile embers of hope still remaining within me. With so much threatening to snuff it out, it's difficult to breathe in this short on hope atmosphere. It's as if my chest can't fully expand and I feel myself slowly suffocating beneath the weight of how not right it all is, and how few people seem to notice. Every day I do my best to gather my strength and redouble my resolve and step out into the brokenness and enmity, bleeding heart affixed to my sleeve, but a disorienting spiritual nausea soon grips me as I try to navigate the now wildly shifting bedrock of what I once believed in the people I thought and knew and the home I imagined I had. No ground feels solid anymore. To be a deeply feeling person in a time when empathy has become a middle-digit partisan slur doesn't seem sustainable, and neither does staying. So today I just want to leave this world. I want to leave its coldness forever in my rear view, to run into anything else, because even the terrifying what could be beyond this place seems more inviting right now than the terrible what is. Some days I want to step swiftly from here into hereafter, because here is too painful to endure. But that's just the sadness talking. Leaving isn't really an option, because this is still my home, because I am still tethered here to people I love fiercely, because there's still so much unfinished music inside me, because whatever force of life still resides here, beating defiantly in the center of my chest, isn't fully extinguished yet, and because I refuse to depart until it is. And so today I just want to leave this world. I want to leave it more compassionate than I found it. I think I've shared this in a sermon. I want people here who are pressed up hard against desperation to encounter rest in me, for them to feel less alone in the grief and the disbelief they carry on their rubbed, raw shoulders, and to be able to exhale again. I want to leave this world more than just when I arrived. At the end of my time, I want to know that while I was here, I spent every bit of the unearned currency of my privilege to make room at the table for the excluded and uninvited and unloved, to create spaces of refuge where people experience true belonging in my presence, even if few other places offer them respite. I want to leave this world lighter than it was when I got here. I want to be a source of fits of laughter and kind acts and joyful exchanges that are medicinal to the souls of people afflicted by the heaviness of loss, disappointment, failure, and rejection, to bring lift and light in the face of so much deflation. Yes, I want to leave this world safer and kinder and funnier and more decent, which means staying as long as I can and filling up my days with as much that affirms life as I can manage until my last day arrives. It means speaking words of truth and love even when silence would be the less turbulent path. Engaging the cruelty, confronting the atrocities, and placing myself into the fractures so that hopefully, even in ways that I can't see or measure in the moment, some healing might come. I figure that's the best use of the time and the place and the story I'm standing in right now. One day I'm going to leave this world for good, but today I'm going to leave it better. I have read that because I love that. It's incredible words. I don't know how many of you actually watch this, maybe none. But just know, for whoever does watch it, even if it's just for my own enjoyment, just know those are my words I kind of live by. I want to also leave this world better than how I found it, and whatever way that makes sense. God bless you all.